Hello class, welcome to today's lesson. My name is Peter Emisa. Last week we learned about the excretory system. If you were not able to join our class last week, don't forget the video is still active here for you to learn. Today we will be talking about structure and function of the liver as an excretory organ. What is the liver? Now, the liver is the largest organ in the human body and serves as the body's chemical factory and detoxification center. Now, when we talk about the liver as a chemical factory, now in essence, the liver is like a chemical manufacturing plant that takes in raw materials. What are these raw materials? We will say the raw materials are nutrients and blood. Process them through complex chemical reactions. Produces useful products like proteins, glucose, and bile. Removes waste and maintains the body's quality control, all to keep our body functioning properly. At the same time, when we talk about detoxification center, it removes poisonous substances from the body. Key facts about the liver. Now, we said it is the largest internal organ. It weighs about 1.5 kilograms. It is reddish brown in color due to high blood content. It is cone or wedge shaped, roughly triangular appearance. It is highly vascular, that is, receives large amount of blood. Why is the liver important? Why is the liver important? The liver is essential for one, it aids in detoxification. When we talk about detoxification, it is the removal of poisons and toxins from the body. Two, metabolism, aids in metabolism. That is, it processes nutrients. At the same time, it aids in excretion. That is, we learned excretion is the removal of waste product. This means the liver also removes waste products. It also helps in digestion. Then, if you talk about digestion, you will say the liver produces bile. That is the bile pigment. Then, it also help or aid in energy regulation. That is, it stores and releases glucose. Last one is it helps in immune functions. That is, when we talk about immune functions, it helps the body to fight against diseases. Where is the liver located? First of all, I will talk about the position. Now, the position of the liver is located in the right upper abdomen. Now, the liver sits below the lungs. It is protected by the rib cage. It extends across the midline into the left upper abdomen. When we talk about the anatomical relationships, the liver is above the diaphragm. When you talk about the diaphragm is a muscle that separates the chest from the abdomen. The liver is below the right kidney and intestines. It is behind the right lungs, in front of the abdominal wall and rib cage. What's the general shape and size of the liver? The shape of the liver is approximately cone or wedge shaped, smooth rounded surface, firm and solid, not hollow. This means the liver is not hollow in shape. Hollow, it is not hollow in shape. The size and length of the liver. The liver is about 1.5 centimeters, approximately 6 inches. The width of the liver is about 1.2 centimeters, approximately 5 inches. The thickness is about 7 centimeters, approximately 3 inches. And the weight of the liver is about 1.5 kilograms. Let's talk about the color of the liver. It is reddish brown in color. Why? It is due to high blood content. Now, changes color based on the blood oxygen levels. Now, this means the liver is able to change color due to your blood oxygen level. And detailed structure of the liver. The main structural component of the liver. We have one, the liver lobes. We have one, the liver lobes. The liver lobes is divided into 4 main lobes. The liver lobes is divided into 4 main lobes. We have one, the right lobe, the left lobe, the caudate lobe, and the quadrate lobe. So these are the liver lobes. We have one, the right lobes. We have 2, the left lobe. We have 3, the caudate lobe, and 4, the quadrate lobe. Now let me tell you the size and location at the same time, the description of these lobes. So I'm taking the first one, which is the right lobe. Now the right lobe size is larger than the left lobe, the caudate lobe, and the quadrate lobe. Now the location of the right lobe is right side of the body. It is at the right side of the body. Now the description is the largest lobe and occupies most of the right upper abdomen. That is the right lobe. The left lobe is smaller. The left lobe is smaller. Now the location of the left lobe is at the left side of the body. Now the description is it is smaller and more wedge shaped. It is smaller and more wedge shaped. Now the caudate lobe is small. This means the left lobe is smaller than the caudate lobe. Now the caudate lobe is at the posterior side of the body. That means it is at the back of the body, the posterior side of the body. It is located at the back of the liver. It is located at the back of the liver. We also have the quadrate lobe, which is the last one, which is also small. Then it is the anterior, or we say the front sides. So it is located at the front near the gallbladder. The left lobe is located at the front near the what? The gallbladder. Let's move to the second one. Don't forget, we said the main structural component of the liver. We have one, the liver lobes. And under the liver lobes, we have the right lobe, the left lobe, caudate lobe, and the quadrate lobe. We are moving to the second component of the liver, which is the falciform ligament. So two, the falciform ligament. Now the falciform ligament is a membrane. So it is a sickle-shaped ligament. Now the function of the falciform ligament is to divide the right and left lobes. So the function of the falciform ligament, it divides the right and the left lobes. Now where eight attachments. Now the falciform ligament connects the liver. It connects the liver to the abdominal wall. That is the attachment of the falciform ligament. It connects the liver to the abdominal wall. Now its appearance, it is thin crescent-shaped structure. It is thin crescent-shaped structure. Crescent. Thin crescent-shaped structure. The third one is the hepatic lobules. The hepatic lobules. So the third one is the hepatic lobules. Now, what are the hepatic lobules? Now, they are tiny functional units of the liver. The hepatic lobules are the tiny functional units of the liver. Now, we have thousands of lobules. Now, the structure of the hepatic lobule is each lobule contains liver cells. Each lobule, it contains liver cells. That is hepatocytes. The liver cells are called hepatocytes. So hepatic lobules. So hepa, then tocytes. For the words arranged around a central vein. Arranged around a central vein. What is its function? Now, it is the site of all liver functions. The liver functions, it is the metabolism, the detoxification, etc. Metabolism, detoxification, bile production. These are all the liver functions. The fourth one is the bile duct. Bile duct. 4. Bile duct. When we talk about bile duct, or when you hear something about bile, so it says bile duct. What do you think it will be? Bile duct. Now this means they are tubes that carry bile, or they are tubes that aid in carrying of bile. And the structure, each lobule has a duct flowing toward the common hepatic duct. So each lobe, it has a duct which flows towards the what? The common hepatic duct. The common hepatic duct. Now, what is the function? It transports bile from the liver to the where? To the gallbladder. It transports bile from the liver to the what? To the gallbladder and the small intestines. Now we have the common hepatic duct. The common hepatic duct, it is a main duct that drains bile from the liver. When you hear something or when you hear anything about the common hepatic duct, now the common hepatic duct is the main duct. And this main duct, what does it do? It drains bile from the liver. We have the fifth one, which is the blood vessels. Fifth one, the blood vessels. What are the major blood vessels? You've heard blood vessels before. What are the major blood vessels? Now, for the major blood vessels, we have one which is the hepatic artery. The hepatic artery, we have the portal vein. The portal vein, we also have the hepatic vein. Hepatic vein. So we have hepatic artery. You also have portal vein, and the last one, hepatic vein. So we have blood vessels, we have the hepatic artery, the portal vein, and the hepatic vein. Now, the function of the hepatic artery is to bring oxygen rich blood from the heart. This means the oxygen from the heart is very rich. Then, now this type of blood is the oxygenated blood. So it carries oxygenated blood. We also have the portal vein, which brings nutrient or rich blood from digestive system. So it brings nutrient rich blood from digestive system. And this blood type is the nutrient rich or the rich nutrient. We also have the hepatic vein. The hepatic vein carries processed blood away from the liver. The hepatic vein carries processed blood away from the liver. And this type of blood is the deoxygenated blood. Deoxygenated blood. Let's talk about the sixth one, which is the liver capsule. The liver capsule. The liver capsule, what is it? Now, it is a thin outer membrane. It is a thin outer membrane, and its function is to protect the liver tissue. So, the liver capsule protects the liver tissues. It has a smooth, glistening surface. A smooth, glistening surface. That is its appearance. It has a smooth, glistening surface. That is the liver capsule. Now let's take the four lobes of the liver. Let's take the four lobes of the liver. As I said earlier, I said the first one is the what? Is the right lobe. So let me talk about the characteristics of the right lobe. Now, the right lobe is the largest lobe of the liver and occupies most of the right hypochondrion. So the characteristics of the right lobe. Now the right lobe is the largest lobe of the liver and occupies most of the right hypochondrium. When you talk about hypochondrium, it is an area under the right rib cage. That is the hypochondrium. It is an area under the right rib cage. Now it extends into the epigastrium. The epigastrium, we have hypochondrium, chondrium. We also have epigastrium. So we have hypochondrium and epigastrium. So epigastrium is the upper central abdomen. Epigastrium is the upper central abdomen. You say epi up, hypo under. So significantly larger than the left lobe. The right lobe is larger than the left lobe. Now it is separated from the left lobe by the falciform ligament. I said the falciform ligament separate the what? The right lobe and the left lobe. So it is separated from the left lobe by the falciform ligament. It is separated from the caudate lobe. It is separated from the caudate lobe by the right sagittal fissure. Right. I said it is separated from the caudate lobe by the right what? Sagittal fissure. Right. Sagittal fissure. Right. Sagittal fissure. So right sagittal fissure. What is the function of the right lobe? So it performs most of the liver's metabolic functions, but processes most of the blood from the digestive system, then produces most of the bile. Let's move on to the left lobe. The left lobe is smaller than the right lobe. The left lobe is one smaller than the right lobe. It is located on the left side of the body. It is wedge-shaped appearance, or it is wedge-shaped in appearance. It sits just under the diaphragm and extends across the midline slightly. But it extends what? Across the midline slightly. Now the function of the left lobe is to assist with what? Metabolic functions. It also processes blood from left side of the digestive system. Then it contributes to bile production. Let's take the third lobe, which is the caudate lobe. The caudate lobe is a small lobe at the back or posterior of the liver. It is located above the right kidney, then the posterior part of the left medial sector, and it is separated from the right lobe by the right sagittal fissure. What is the function of the caudate lobe? The function of the caudate lobe is to assist with what? The metabolic functions, then it contributes to the overall liver functions. The last one is the quadrate lobe. The quadrate lobe is a small lobe at the front or anterior of the liver. It is located near the gallbladder, between the falciform ligament and the right sagittal fissure. It is visible on inferior or bottom surfaces. Functions of the quadrate lobe is to assist with metabolic functions and contribute to overall liver function. We are saying all these lobe, they contribute or they aid or help in the what? In the overall liver functions. Okay, so let's take the hepatic segment. Hepatic segment, which has 8 segments. Hepatic segment. So hepatic segments are 8 functional divisions of the liver, each with its own blood supply and bile drainage. It means it drains what? It drains bile. Now, this segmental anatomy is important for surgical planning. So let's take, for instance, we are saying that the hepatic segment, it has 8 segments. So let's take, for instance, if there is a surgical planning or surgical operation, now they will have to look at this hepatic segment, how they are going to do the dissection and all that. So segment organization. The segment organization, now each sector is divided into 2 segments. Each sector is divided into 2 segments, producing 8 hepatic segments. Are you getting it? Now this means if we take a sector of the hepatic segment, each is divided into 2 segments, producing 8 hepatic segments numbered I to VII. So the numbering system, how is it like? Now the segments are numbered anti-clockwise, clockwise and anti-clockwise. So this segment, they are numbered anti-clockwise around the what? The porta hepatis. Now, when we talk about the porta hepatis is where blood vessels and bile duct enter. So where the blood vessels and the bile duct they enter, it is called the porta hepatis. Now, when the liver is reflected along its inferior border towards the diaphragm, these 8 segments are what are very useful and important, that it will aid our blood vessels and bile ducts to what? To enter. So let's take the 8 segment. Now, because of time, I'm not going to write all of the segments on the board, but I will illustrate the I will illustrate it in a tabular form for you to see. So we have the segment I, and the name of the first segment is the caudate lobe, and the location of the caudate lobe is the posterior part of the left mediator sector or the medial sector. We also have the segment II, which is the second segment, which is the left posterolateral, which is the left posterolateral, which is the left lobe, then at left lobe at the posterior side. We also have the segment 3, which is the left anterolateral, and the left anterolateral is at the left lobe, which is at the anterior side. We also have segment IV, but for the segment IV, we have segment IVA and segment IVB. We have the left medial superior and the left medial inferior. So it means the IVA and the the IVA and the IVB, we have the left medial superior and the left medial inferior. So we have superior and inferior. Now, if you take the superior, it is the left medial sector. This means it is at the upper part. It is at the upper part. And the IVB, which is the left medial inferior, is the left medial sector, which is at the lower part. You also have the segment V. The segment V is the right anterior inferior. The right anterior inferior, which is the right lobe, front and lower. It is at the right lobe, at the front side and at the lower. Then we also have the segment VI. The segment VI, which is the right posterior inferior. The right posterior inferior, which is the right lobe, which is the right lobe at the back and lower. At the back and lower. We also have segment VII, which is the right posterior superior. The right posterior superior, which is the right lobe at the back and upper. We also have segment VII, which is the right anterior superior, which is the right lobe, front and upper. So these are the various hepatic segments. We also have functions of the liver. Pause no moment. So let's dive into the functions of the liver. Functions of the liver. Now, the liver produces more than 500 different functions, but I'm going to give you the few ones or the main ones of the functions by the liver. One, the liver produces bile, or it aids in the production of bile. Now, one may ask, what is a bile? What is a bile? Now, the bile is a digestive fluid produced by the liver. It is greenish yellow in color, then contains the bile salt, cholesterol, and bilirubin. The function of the bile is to help the liver break down fat in the small intestines, then carries away waste products from the liver and aids in digestion and absorption of fat. FATS, fat. 2. The liver aids in the production of blood proteins. It aids in the production of blood proteins. Now, blood proteins produce, we have one, the albumin, which maintains blood osmotic pressure. We have clotting factors. Let's take, for instance, you are using a blade, then you cut yourself. Now, the liver helps in blood clotting. So it helps your blood to clot. It also produces immune proteins. So these immune proteins, they fight infections. They fight infections, then transport proteins. They carry substances in the blood. All these importance or essential blood functions, they maintain the blood volume and pressure, which enables blood clotting. 3. Production of cholesterol and lipoproteins. Production of cholesterol and lipoproteins. What is produced? There we said cholesterol. So this means cholesterol is produced, which is essential for cell membranes and hormones. That is, we have lipoproteins, and the lipoproteins, they transport fat through the body. They transport fat through the body. So we have high density lipoprotein, which is good for your body. High density lipoprotein, which is good for your body. We also have, if you have high, it means you're going to have a low. We also have low density lipoprotein, which is very bad. It's bad cholesterol. It is a bad cholesterol. Now, important, this cholesterol is essential for life. These lipoproteins, they transport fat to cells. They maintain proper fat metabolism. That's why we have the high and low. High and low. Now, the fourth one is glucose regulation. This means the liver aids in glucose regulation. If the liver aids in glucose regulation, it is through a process. It is through a process, and this process is called glycogenesis. Glycogenesis. And for glycogenesis, they convert excess glucose to glycogen for storage. We also have glycogenolysis, however you're going to pronounce it. It's glycogenolysis or glycogenolysis. Now, they break down glycogen back to glucose when needed. Then we also have glyconeogenesis. Glyconeogenesis. So we have glycogenesis, we have glycogenolysis, then glyconeogenesis. Now, this glyconeogenesis, they create new glucose from other molecules. Are you getting it? They create new glucose from other molecules. Then importance, we will say they maintain blood glucose levels. Then they provide energy during fasting. When you are fasting, they provide energy. At the same time, they prevent hypoglycemia. They prevent hypoglycemia. When we talk about hypoglycemia, it is low blood sugar. Low blood sugar. Then the fifth importance is the liver aids in the regulation of amino acid levels. They aid in the regulation of amino acid levels. Function, we will say they regulate blood levels of amino acids. Then amino acids are building blocks of what? Proteins. We all know amino acids, they are building blocks of proteins. Then they maintain proper protein synthesis. Now, this is important, and why? Because they ensure adequate amino acids for protein synthesis. Are you getting it? They ensure adequate amino acids or amino acids for protein synthesis. Then prevent amino acids deficiency. They prevent amino acids deficiency. Then they support the muscle and the tissue growth. They support muscles and tissue growth. We also have the sixth point, which is what? The liver is in processing of hemoglobin. Hemoglobin. Now, this process, they break down old hemoglobin from red blood cells. Then they extract iron from what? From the hemoglobin. They store iron for future use. They store iron for future use. They also convert hemoglobin to what? To bilirubin. They convert hemoglobin to bilirubin. And now this whole process is very important. Why? Because they recycle iron. They recycle iron for new red blood cells, then prevent iron deficiency. Then they process what? Hemoglobin waste. They process hemoglobin waste. Seven, they aid in the conversion of ammonia to urea. They aid in the conversion of ammonia to urea. Now, this process, there is ammonia. Now, ammonia is a toxic substance, or I would say it is a toxic byproduct of protein metabolism. Ammonia is a toxic byproduct of protein metabolism. Now, liver converts ammonia to urea via the what? Via the urea cycle. So we have a cycle where this process occurs. So liver, they convert ammonia to urea via the what? Via the urea cycle. Then urea, urea is less toxic. Urea is less toxic, and it is water soluble. Urea is excreted by what? By the kidneys in urine. So we will also talk about urine formation. When we get to the kidneys, we'll talk about the urine formation. Now, this is important. Now, this prevents ammonia toxicity. They prevent ammonia toxicity. They protect the brain from damage. They protect the brain from damage. At the same time, this is essential for protein what? Protein metabolism. So this conversion of ammonia to urea, they are very essential, or they are essential for protein metabolism. Now, the eighth point is detoxification of drugs and poisons. Detoxification of when I started this video, I made mention of detoxification. So detoxification of This means the liver aids in detoxification of drugs and poisons. The process, I would say, the liver enzymes. Now, this liver, they have enzymes, and I mentioned it earlier when I started the video. These enzymes, they break down drugs and toxins. They convert them to a less harmful forms, then makes them easier to be excreted, or it makes them easier to be what? Excreted. Now, importance, all this process, they protect the body from harmful substances, they metabolizes medications, they removes environmental toxins. Yes, all these toxins entering our liver, they remove them. We also have regulation of blood clotting. Regulation of blood clotting. So this process, they produces clotting factors. They produce clotting factors. These clotting factors, we have proteins are needed for blood clotting. Proteins, they are widely needed for blood clotting. You also have, they regulate clotting cascade. So CASAD. Is it cascade? Yes. So they regulate what? Clotting cascade. Then prevent excessive bleeding. So when there is a cut, they prevent excessive bleeding. They clot the skin when you get a cut. So they aid in blood clotting. Important. Now, this prevent excessive bleeding. This regulation of blood clotting, why? They prevent excessive bleeding, they prevent unwanted clot, they maintain homeostasis. Now, homeostasis is our blood balance. They maintain homeostasis. This is all the function of the liver. We will talk about the 10th one, which is the immune function. That is the liver fighting against infections, immune function. Now, this process, they produces immune factors. That is, we have antibodies, we have complement proteins. These proteins everywhere, all these proteins. Don't forget. Now, they remove bacteria from the bloodstream. Then they contain this immune function. They contain specialized immune cells. They contain specialized immune cells. They call it the Kappa cells. The Kappa cells. FFER cells. The Kappa cells. The Kappa cells. Now, they fight infections. They remove pathogens from the blood. That's the disease-causing organisms. They also support immune system. They support immune what? System. Last one we will talk about is the what? The clearance of bilirubin. Clearance of bilirubin. Now, the bilirubin is produced from the hemoglobin breakdown. The body is able to break down hemoglobin. This bilirubin is produced from the what? From the hemoglobin breakdown. The liver captures and processes the what? The bilirubin, then conjugate bilirubin. This makes it water soluble. Then excrete what? Bilirubin as bile. I get it. So they excrete bilirubin as bile. When there is a breakdown of this hemoglobin, now this conjugate bilirubin, they makes it water soluble, then excrete bilirubin in bile. Now, when they excrete bilirubin in bile, this is very important. Very, very important. Why? This prevents bilirubin accumulation. They prevent bilirubin accumulation. They also prevent this disease called the jaundice. Jaundice. That is the yellowish of skin and eyes. You will see some people, their eyes very yellow. Their skin is like yellow in color, turning yellow. Eye skin yellowish in color. This disease is called jaundice. So this accumulation of bilirubin, they prevent the bilirubin accumulation. So when bilirubin is accumulated, what happens? There is jaundice. You get this disease called a jaundice. So in order for this bilirubin not to be accumulated, it has to be excreted. Now, this will be excreted to prevent jaundice. Then they processes the hemoglobin waste. They process the hemoglobin waste. Now, how does the liver excrete waste? How does the liver excrete waste? Now, the liver removes waste through several key processes. We have breakdown of ammonia. We also have bilirubin elimination. Now, let's take the breakdown of ammonia. Now, what is ammonia? What is ammonia? Now, ammonia is a toxic byproduct of protein metabolism produced throughout the body, especially in muscles, highly toxic to the nervous system. It is highly toxic to the nervous system. On our previous video, I talked about a little bit about the nervous system. Now, how the liver handles it. Now, uses the urea cycle, as I said. It uses the urea cycle to convert ammonia to urea. Now, urea is much less toxic than ammonia. Then urea is water soluble and easily transported in blood. The kidneys filter urea and excrete it in urine. I said we will talk about the urine formation. Why is this important? This prevents ammonia accumulation, protects the brain from damage, essential for protein metabolism, all that. So we also have bilirubin elimination. We have detoxification. We also have elimination of excess hormones. Now, what hormones are eliminated? We have sex hormones. We have sex hormones, that is the estrogen, the testosterone. We also have the thyroid hormones. Now, these thyroid hormones, how the liver handles them. Now, they break down excess hormones. They excrete them in bile or urine. They excrete them in bile or urine. Then they maintain proper hormone levels. They maintain proper hormone levels. We also have blood purification. Blood purification. Now, this is the overall process where the liver filters blood continuously. They remove the waste product. They remove toxins. They remove excess substances. They maintain healthy internal environment. Don't forget to learn some of the key processes I mentioned. Learn some of the key processes I mentioned. Thank you all for joining today's lesson. I hope you really enjoyed it. If you have any question, don't forget to comment. Any question, you make a comment. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that whenever I make a new video, you can get it, then learn. My name is Peter Emisa. Thanks for joining today's class.